You, actually, not that busy. No, no. What do you think about the rabbi? He wants the earth so we can build after
I don't know. I wish I was in church. I could tell you.
Steven Stone. I will put some. Feet first. Feet first. Okay. Yeah. This is what you gonna set. All right.
No,
You're gonna
we're
move.
gonna.
Okay. Thanks.
You're
Our own guy, our own guy from Shalom, he always is in our way. Mark from Shalom. He's at the podium and the microphone and everything.
That's right. That's fine. To each his own.
No, and the snake with the body a little bit.
It's in the front. Everyone other than children.
What's your ties that my mom gave you from my grandpa? Yes.
They either love it or they don't. Should have seen what I went through with another family. They got me the notice at 4:58 for a 5 o'clock deadline, and we were upset that it didn't make That's how it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. Had to say art. You like jazz? One thing I don't. Okay. I like that. No, anything Rat Pack. That's his hero. That was excellent.
We were saying
I do what I can when I can.
That's right.
I went to open the drink.
Oh, you didn't even know.
I think we
Well, I
did.
told you when you started to bring in the table, I said I'll bring it early in the morning.
I didn't know you were gonna set up the tent and stake it in. I was just surprised. He got up at like 12:30, thinking it was like 4 o'clock, freaking out.
I told him that you're gonna wake up to
Yes.
Why is there a tent set there?
Up here comes the
Yeah, so yesterday I was trying to figure out what I was gonna wear.
Cody.
Remember you lived here, you can go upstairs and change. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah.
Don't complain. Huh? Don't complain. I compliment. Cody, it says keep off wood. Huh?
Don't walk on the wood, you might fall through it.
Oh!
Yeah, well, that's where the hole is.
Those were not there
If
before.
you want to fall into the hole, go jump up and down on the wood.
I think they're talking about the wood back there, like the top.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe
It says for machinery only, and the dirt is
it's
there.
that way.
maybe the metal stuff is on top of it so it doesn't mess up the grass. You are dressed for this occasion.
Are you okay?
Probably left call. Yes, it's in there. No.
Mine only does it for us. Depending on the style. Yeah. Looks like the two that looks so much. The girl looks so well, sometimes
Nancy always wants to watch the sevens. Which one do you think we watch?
She said either the second or third.
Yeah.
Lyle doesn't really care. He just goes with the flow. Well, I kind of, they all have to watch a little harder. Because they're intentional.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as they stop paying attention, I'm like, all right, I'll put on that.
And then they watch the little. I don't know.
It's still,
Well, she got it on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas is that Grammy? Could be. They all have white cards. That's great.
this is
Yeah.
amazing. Really.
Is that the time?
Just the ambiance of it all is so great.
They never do. Oh no!
You ask how much I need.
Father? Bitch?
It's like, wait, well, you're on. Yeah. 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 That's what I'm getting
But anyway,
We're gonna hug it out.
now I'm drinking with you. I have a bad, terrible day. I put myself and I was like, whatever you want.
Cherry night? That's so nice, you did.
Such a faded moment. We were excited for it in our house.
This is when you first started.
Modeled and gutted and rebuilt.
I forgot to tell you that. Yeah, no, you know that? It's like a thing to do. You can vary salary with special Oh, it was built this year.
I took that picture. That's the biggest club.
You actually would have been I see it. Did it? I should remember you right away. But you know what that was?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a beautiful old nostalgia. Okay, it's fine. Take it to a car show. Right. Yeah, it's interesting. And this wasn't an ostentatious job.
Oh, I like the white shirt.
The way it should work is you choose this one. Yeah.
That picture.
Probably enough charge.
From the Northmore Golf House.
Anyway, great family. Yeah.
He's a big eater. You think Zadie's a big eater? He used to put me to shit. What his middle name was? Art? All you can eat.
What was his middle name?
Have you seen in the car? gonna get hit by lightning today. Probably got hit like 30 years ago out here. Walk today. One person brought out their own. He's got local. He got a lot Well, you're gonna do what I'm gonna make. More questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the service. Would the following people act as pallbearers: Howard Burnett, Ross Bertone Jr., Billy Burnett, Brett Friedman, Eric Burnett, Grant Friedman, Aaron Finkel, and two great-grandchildren, AJ and Mason. Would you please make your way up to the hearse?
It's another one of my grandchildren. He's going to be an honorary.
That's gonna be one.
Go ahead, guys. I'll tell you what to do.
We're doing so much.
Family, please come and be seated. Friends of the family, there's additional seating, or you can stand under the tent.
I'll sit right here. Behind coffee. You know what? Let me Why are you getting mad at me?
We didn't have to drag you. They already grew out of that.
You want to come under the tent? And I'll. And then I'll.
Is that okay?
Yeah, but I'm going to be in front of her, so why don't you actually put her right up against the front chair. Or in the second row, but so she's under the shade.
We're gonna make some opening announcements. I didn't want to step on your toes.
Thank you everyone who's here, and to the people that are online as well. The family appreciates it. If you have a cell phone, please place it into silent mode at this time. The service will be conducted by Hazan Stephen Storr from Beth Shalom in Northbrook.
Thank you. I hope that you feel okay with me taking off my mask, and if not, I'm happy to put it on, but I believe the distance is safe. I want to participate in two rituals before beginning the actual liturgy and eulogy. The first I've already taken care of, which possibly you saw behind me placing some earth on top of the casket. It's not specifically any earth such as that we will place upon the top of the casket in a little while, but it's earth from the land of Israel, from a place called Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives. And it's a sacred and holy burial space. And they export these little packets of earth from around that area so that we can sprinkle it into the grave and thus connect to the individual not only spiritually through prayer and not emotionally through eulogy, but also physically to connect to the homeland of our people. The second ritual act is the cutting of kri'ah, which I believe the two of you should be wearing. I don't think others are wearing, right? You have your, okay, great. So that's a symbol, an outward symbol of what you might be feeling internally. That something has been torn. Actually, the word kriya means to tear. People used to tear their clothing, even in earlier days, even cutting or marking their bodies with that pain and anguish. This is just a little bit more civil, a little bit more economical, that you're not tearing your shirt, your tie, your shawl, or something. It's a ribbon, but it represents the same thing. And the two of you are wearing it on your left side, indicating that you've lost a parent. Should it be anybody else in the family for whom you might mourn, it's one on the right side. But Judaism from earliest of days teaches us, kaved et avicha v'yatimecha, honor thy father and mother in a unique and special way to thank them for the life that they have blessed you with. And so you wear it on that left side. We're going to say a bracha, a blessing, that says, God, you are Dayan ha'emet. You are the judge of truth. God gives and God takes, and yet we proclaim God is the judge of truth. Now, possibly with your father's passing at the age of 90, we can deal with that, right? God is a great God. God is a faithful God. God is a provider to us all. When you've had sadder, more untimely occasions, those words are harder to say. But yet our people have, through the ages, maintained their faith through the most difficult of times and wished for and prayed for, if you will, a day like today, a day filled with sun and with promise and surrounded by remarkable blessings of family and friends. So if you feel comfortable to stand for that brief moment of blessing, I'm going to ask you to do so. Just because everybody else is not wearing a ribbon makes you no less a mourner emotionally in your own hearts. It's just an indication directed by tradition. So I'll ask you to say the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam dayan ha'emet. We all say Amen. God is the God who has created the world, who creates opportunities for us to get to know one another in the world, and we thank God for your blessing of having had Art as dad, and as your family member, your grandfather, your father-in-law, your loved one, your sibling. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach V'Hishem, Adonai Baruch. We'll continue to praise God for the sweetness and the blessing of life. There are prescribed liturgy to be recited at the time of a funeral. I'm going to participate in some of it. The first paragraph is a little longer. It reflects the same bracha that you just recited, Dayan ha'emet, Sidu Kadin, the God of righteousness. And so while I do so, I'm going to ask you to take a look at the brochure, and in there you will find the 23rd song. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It's very familiar to us, especially in the English, to many of us in the Hebrew as well. So I'm going to chant this longer paragraph, ask you to reflect. And what I'd like you to reflect on specifically is the sentence that says, Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. A day like this, a day of sadness and loss, feels like a valley, a depression, if you will, that we're down in the dumps. And the shadow of death is obvious, that there's been life taken from us. But the author, the poet, says, we shall get through this valley. We shall persevere. We shall get on with life someday, somehow. We're not going to get over it. Art will always be with you. But we need to get through that valley. So as you read this poem, don't just read it to get through the words, but give thought to how you're going to help this family walk through the valley. עד צור תמים פועלו כי חוד רחב משפט אל אמונה ועיניו אל צדיק וישר הוא. עד צור תמים בכו פועל מיומר לא מטיף על השליט במטה ומעלמי מתמחיה מוריד שלוויה. צדיק בחוד רחב עד צור תמים ערך אפיים ומלא רחמים חמנה וחושנה לבוד ובלמים כי לך אדון הסליחות והרחמים. אדם בן שנה יהיה אלף שנים יחיה מה יתרום לו כלא יהיה ברוך דיין אמת מי מתמחיה. ידענו אדוני כי צדק משפטך, תשגב בדברך ותזכה בשופטיך. ואין להרהר עליך מידת שופטיך, צדיק אתה אדוני ישר משפטך. גדול העצה ורב הלליה, אשר נתך בכבוד על כבודם כבני אדם. ותד לאיש כדרך בכפרים על עליו להגיד כי אשר אדוני צורי ברב תבוא. אדוני נתן אדוני לקח, משם אדוני מבורך. ורחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית והרבה להשיבתו ולא יאיר כל חמתו. A brief translation of that larger paragraph is that if a person is granted 200 years, 90 years, or many, many fewer in life, time's never enough when you love somebody the way you loved Art. But we have to believe that the world has its cycle, and those cycles have a purpose. And thus we praise God as the judge of truth, which you did, who has given life, but sadly who has had to accept it back, our soul, into the heavens. We place our trust in you, O God. We accept our lot in life. We accept our loss. And we do all that we can to hold on to the love that remains inside of us forever. We pray that you have mercy upon this family as they mourn today a significant loss in their life, and strengthen them as they maintain their courage at this time of sorrow. The spirit, we pray, dear God, shall return to you. Even though the dust must return to the earth. The 23rd Psalm. Adonai roi lo echsar benote sheyar b'tzeini alemei menuchot yinahaleni nafshi yeshovem yanchini b'maglei tzedek l'man shemo gam ki elech v'geta mavet lo yirara ki ata imadi שבטך משענתך המה ינחמוני תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צוררה ושענת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. Chaim Nachman Bialik, a poet, writes the words, Acharei Moti, there was a man, and he is no more. Before his time, the song of his life was stilled, and yet his melody lingers on. I'm sure that you can continue to hear the voice of your father of art, and I pray will do so ever so clearly for the years to come. First, I want to thank Howard for introducing me to the wider family and giving me this opportunity for this sacred honor to help pay respects to Arthur. You had mentioned to me yesterday when we met that Arthur would have wanted me to keep this short, so I'm going to just call him Art. As we were speaking, we were celebrating his life. We talked about Cheers. That might be his biography, right? The title, Cheers, right? With the glass, the ice, the Crown Royal, the whole kit and caboodle. And then I thought of the song from the television show, right? Making the way in the world today takes everything you got. And the last verses are, well, you want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. And I thought that was an interesting place to start. Arthur Friedman. A man who left quite an impression upon the people that he did meet in his lifetime, and everyone seemed to know him. Notably, of course, his parents, Myra and Ray, his beloved wife, Cookie. He was a brother to Marlene and Bob, a father to Bruce and Wendy, Sherry and David, Judy, Howard. And then he had the glorious dividends, of course, of a long life, which is grandchildren, Lonnie and Ross, Billy and Michelle, Brett and Yolanda, Eric and Shar, Grant and Brittany, Aaron, and then the great grandchildren, the jewels on the crown, AJ, Keely, Mason, Cody, Noah, Maisie, Jack, Charlotte, Ziggy Bob, and Lyle. All of these people and so many more toast you today, Art, with a hearty cheers. Even those at Whitehall Rehab, where Art spent some various periods of time, were genuinely saddened to hear of his passing. And I'm sure the gang on the 5th floor of Victory Center will miss their regular Friday night Shabbat L'chaim club that they had. Jewish law teaches us that the greatest acquisition in life is a person's name, not their station in life, not their wealth, but the crown of a good name, keter, that's the word for crown, keter shem tov, which Art did possess. And as he was from a royal lineage, that being a Kohen from the priestly tribe of the Kohanim, I might suggest that he was a royal crown. Born in 1930, Art was raised by his parents, who he loved and I was told respected throughout their long years of life. And he recalled for me how on Friday night Shabbat meals, Grandma Ray would host a lavish Shabbat dinner with cousins and extended family. Art, I learned, was also quite close with his father, with whom he worked at the industry supply company. First working for his dad, then working with his dad, and then eventually buying the business. His sister Marlene was close to him, and one time was actually too close to him. You see, Art was playing high school football, and he was running down the field at the game. Marlene became so enthralled to root on her brother, she got too close to the sideline and actually tripped him. For the purpose of Shalom Bayit, creating a peaceful and maintaining a peaceful home, his parents held back the identity of the unnamed assailant for a while, just so he wouldn't be angry at her. Art would continue and play baseball, and he would run track when at Hyde Park High School. Later in his life, he continued to enjoy sports, bowling with B'nai B'rith, playing some adult softball, and coaching Little League for his son Bruce. And well after you were done playing, you said. Of course, there was golfing. When his avid playing days were over, he would work as a ranger. at the Sportsman Golf Club just to stay close to the game. He told me he had a hole-in-one, maybe more than one hole-in-one in life, and that he had won some tourneys at the game. How he loved his time at the Flossmoor Country Club and would often spend weekends there in the area with Cookie, just to relax. 4th of July gatherings for the whole family became a highly anticipated treat for the grandchildren as well. After all, who would want to miss that ice cream truck and the famed Grease watermelon contest? And we have one of the champions right here, I believe. He enjoyed following sports also. He loved his beloved Bears, and how he coveted his Steve McMichael signed sweatshirt. He and Cookie shared Blackhawk tickets for a number of years, I believe you said with the Rosens. Periodically, the kids got to go to some of the games as well, and what machers they thought their parents were when Sergeant Busich would give them privileged parking. For a cultural shift, they also attended opera as well. Art enjoyed the arts and was also artistic, creating some as well. He took up painting in the later years of his life and filled countless canvases with his abstract creations. Art by Art was quite the hit, and he was also known to have had his own art show. Art enjoyed the arts and was artistic, creating some as well. While his name began with A-R-T, art, he was never artificial. He was a good guy who was seeking to get the most fun out of life that he could. While looking back over his life, Sherry said that that was a word that he would use often. He loved the fact that he could look over to review his life and realize how much fun he had. He and Cookie tried to make the best out of life and were open-minded about even some issues that others in their generation could have found destructive to the fabric of the family, but not them. All of his in-law, grandchildren, and relatives were to become theirs to the core. How devastating COVID became to him. The absence of being able to gather as a family, to see one another, to hold the great-grandchildren, you said weakened Art. And though you would take him for a meal or for groceries to get out, he somehow deflated. That wasn't the grandfather of his children, of his grandchildren. They remember him otherwise. They recall Cookie and Art as the omnipresent ones in their lives. They were everywhere, you boasted. There were Walt Disney trips. There was Gullies at the U of I at 2 a.m. There was Vegas and outlasting most of the younger family through the night. At 3 a.m. hearing, "Ready for another cocktail?" wasn't shocking as he speed raced down the casino floor on his scooter. Howard shared that Art loved that game of craps, shooting craps, and that he had taught many of you. Art was equally articulate. He pored over his daily newspapers after dinner and had a voracious appetite for reading. Even when he was at the Victory Center in Vernon Hills, he would receive books from the neighborhood librarian. Speaking of voracious appetites, shall we say he had a penchant for food. It was Brown's chicken, it was Chinese food, and you mentioned how he always enjoyed a generously stacked pile of lox for his, I guess, lox and bagel or his sandwich. He even ventured dangerously into the world of the Beyond Burger and had no trouble devouring that as well. His South Side Shangri-La restaurant was a favorite spot, you recalled for me, as he would entertain clients there and hold some birthday parties as well. Bruce, you said you're ever so thankful for your dad frequenting that spot where he became good friends with the maitre d', who turned out to be Wendy's father, Beshert. And Art was thankful for Bruce being his son, because that kept him from being drafted into the Army, based on the military family guidelines of not drafting a young father at that time. In 1950, Art was attending Drake University, but paused to marry Cookie. He would, however, attend Northwestern Business Program to finish some of his college studies. They were hand in glove, is how you put it, Sherry. They were such a fun and social couple, everybody chimed in. They touched the lives of many people here in Chicago and down in Florida. Art could schmooze with anyone, and you said he held on to some of his long, lifetime friends from all the way back in high school days. Cookie and Art loved to travel, and they saw a multitude of places. When visiting you in Edinburgh, they traveled extensively to see more of Europe. And they even traveled to Italy one time to see one of their granddaughters in a skating competition, and then continued on from there. They were such a wonderful couple, the family crowed. The epitome of marriage, I overheard from another. They were always to be the first ones on the dance floor of any family celebration, to celebrate you. And the pictures which captured them in their glory were held in amazement by their grandson. They were swanky. They were a couple from the heyday of style. I'm so pleased in that image that he had captured on that photograph. They would stay up and they would host cocktail parties at their home on Friday nights, having taken over for Grandma Ray's more traditional Shabbat dinners. Family lore is Family lore is that one not so hopping New Year's Eve, Cookie invited everyone back to her home to pick up the energy. Everyone found out about it, except Art. Art found out a little bit later when someone at the party, the initial party, patted him on the back and said, "Hey, did you hear? Party's moving to Cookies." News to him. But if he was disappointed in any way, he rolled with it. And you said that any disagreement that they had had in their life was always kept behind closed doors, never exposing the family to that sense of turmoil. They didn't want to upset the family, and they continued all of their lives, 62 years, to put up a united front. From the south side to their move on the north side, they were united. Even some friends of theirs from the south side moved with them to Skokie and created their own little shtetl there. Before leaving for the south side, however, Art and Cookie had been instrumental in establishing Rodfei Shalom Or Chadash synagogue. They helped to build the community, and you said you remember helping build the sukkah as well for the holiday of Sukkot. Art was always busy. He was always keeping busy somehow. He had a mind for computers and technology and was ahead of others when it came to modernizing his office with computers. His grandchildren recalled loving playing there with the fax machine and playing some computer games. At base, Art had a good work ethic, a sharp mind, was loyal to family, and was happy that he could be filled with such a life of fun. He told me he liked the color red. Red hat, red vest, red shirts. And I said that I envisioned him as Tiger Woods on that final Sunday. And like Tiger Woods, on Championship Sunday, wearing his red shirt, approaching the 18th tee box, Art has his club, he has his red shirt, and he's got his Crown Royal to uncork should he win. Will he ace that last hole for a hole-in-one? I'm not sure. But Art Friedman was one in a million, and so I'd likely bet on him. Thus, Art, today we raise our proverbial glasses filled with ice to cheer you. So cheers to Art Friedman.
Cheers.
I'm going to offer a memorial prayer at this moment. If you're comfortable to stand, please do so, and then we'll recite Kaddish, which you'll find in the pamphlet. Thank you so much. Prior to the prayer, we want to thank everybody for signing in on Zoom. We want to thank all of you for being here. And Lloyd mentioned that Rabbi Ari Hart is also here, standing aside, as he is a Kohen, and tradition offers when you can and can't step closer to the grave on a day like this. But I'm sure the family feels your closeness nonetheless. We offer this memorial prayer. במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת אלתר בן מאיר הכהן שלח לעולמו וגם אנא ברחמים אסירהו בסתר כנפיך לעולמים וצרור בטרור החיים את נשמתו אדוני ונחלתו וינוח בשלום משכבו ונאמר Dear God, creator of us all, we ask that you accept the sweet soul of Arthur Friedman into your eternal home, his resting place, as he is gathered amongst those who have gone before him, beloved family, and as he is gathered into those who remain here, his beloved family. We ask that you remember the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed, and that his soul be bound up in the bonds of life. Amen. The Kaddish prayer is on the back of the pamphlet if you wish to join us. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברי קירותי וימלך מלכותי בחיי איכון וביום איכון ובחיי דכו בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מנחו ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. We're going to invite the staff at the cemetery to come forward and assist us in beginning to lower the casket. It's a sacred act which we appreciate their assistance in participating in. Afterwards, you will be asked, if you so choose, to participate in the mitzvah as well by placing 3 measures, 3 small shovels of earth into the grave. If you will, lay in a blanket of God's soil over top of him, thus tucking him in, if you will, to his eternal resting place. If you wish to participate by doing more, I would ask you that you initially do the 3, step aside, that those who wish to come to participate in the mitzvah as quickly as they can, showing their desire to do something sweet for Art, something loving and caring, which he cannot repay you for or thank you for. Thus, it's one of the highest mitzvot that we can perform for somebody, that is for somebody who's passed on. And then later on, come back and place some more earth in if that's part of your tradition. We will then at the very end create a shura, that's the word for an aisle or a row, which will help escort the family from the graveside back to their car and then back to their beginning of Shiva. At this point, you may be seated if you wish.
facing east on East Manchester. If anybody needs water, there's the Shiva information is in the pamphlets that we've handed out. If you're going to the Shiva, I'm informed that there is parking available on East Hampshire, East Manchester, excuse me, facing east. Again, East Manchester facing east, and then you can walk over to Fitness. Offer anybody a bottle of water? Don't pass the shovel. Put it back in.
conditions of an obligation. Go to the other side. Just don't walk across the way. You're walking on the track or walking on this way. Those of you wishing to use the smaller containers, please, of course, you can come up with your seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a register book here. If you haven't signed, please feel free to come up and do so. Get those bottles of water and cooler back there if you'd like to.
That looks like a cookie. Yeah. No, it actually looks like a cookie. Like the dog, chocolate on top, the frosting, like chocolate like frosting and put in the cake, and then the fruit, the grass, and the cake that goes on top. Why does that look like a cake to you? That does not look like a cake to you. And then your eyes are sprinkled. And now you're making a cookie because our eyes are sprinkled inside. Yes. Did that not look like cake? Cake? And frosting? Yeah, does this not look like a cake to you? Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask everyone to start forming the two lines as soon as the doors placed in the building will pass through us? One line this way, one line this way.
teachers in school. Maddie's on today. Gotta go pick them up and take them to OT and speech. They gotta go home and go through Friedman checks for all again, but I can't believe we're compared to some things and stuff.
families lonely because they left somebody behind that they so terribly want to bring home with them. We know that physically we must leave those in the safe care of the earth, but we do bring them home, right? We do bring them home emotionally and spiritually. But this is a way to let the mourners know that they're not alone. They still have family, they still have community, they still have support from those that love them. Traditional words are Hamakom, Yenafem, Etfem, Etov, Shahar, Avelek, Sion, Yerushalayim. I won't make you repeat those after me. But it basically says, may God, who lives in that place on high, comfort you along with others that are mourning at this time. So we hope that God, who can create a peaceful existence in the heavens above, can shower this family with a sense of peace of mind, knowing that their sins are during his lifetime and into this moment, and will honor his memory forever. And that they are comforted by God, by you. So as they go by, you can whisper sweet comments of we're here, we love you, we'll see you, etc. Reach out, give them a pat on the shoulder, or grab the hand, or just to let them know you're here. So we invite them to say,
Sherry, do you want to say goodbye to the people that are online and thank them? Here, hold on a second. We'll go like this.
I'd like to thank everybody who watched online. I appreciate your attention and your time. And my dad had a good life, and he lived 6 weeks shy of 91. So it's a day to be celebrating his life, and we will miss him. Thank you.
Hi. As my sister said, thank you all for watching. Arthur led a wonderful life. He loved life. He loved to eat. He loved to drink. So as far as I'm concerned, today is a celebration of Arthur's life. Thank you all.